I had a breakthrough last night. Those who follow my videos would probably recognize that I had a strong identity with the shamanistic tradition, but there's some key aspects that were right in front of my face, and I probably should have. Well, no, everything in due time, right?
Slight right to stay on North 3rd Street.
So, I do have an instinctual grasp of the tradition, which I can only attribute to being echoes of the past existence, but that's not my expression in this life. And the biggest reason why I know this is because as a shaman, the way you express your spiritual gifts is through communion with spirits, which would be entities from higher realms. I don't have that. In fact, I'm highly protected against that. So even if I wanted to, it wouldn't be available to me because that's just it's not my way. What my way is the alchemist. It's how I've done it my whole life. I think it's why before fully awakening, I still use the alchemical methods for processing and transmuting pain and experience. And I've always done it. Maybe it's just been so second nature and background to me, I wouldn't have put a name to it besides calling it intuition. Because I'm also a hyper intuitive. There you have your intuitives, and you have like what you might even want to call your double intuitives. Which is a double-edged sword, because anything in a strong expression has, everything's got its dual edge. So everything that intuitives encounter as a dark or a downside goes double for me, even though the positives also go double. It's also no coincidence that I was introduced to the concepts of transcendental meditation and white tantric kundalini yoga at an early age. Early enough age to where it was impressioned and I held on to it. But for an alchemist, the tools of energy work and chakra focus are invaluable tools that only enhance your work. Sorry for that. So yes, alchemy is my expression. And another thing, with shamans, the channeling is brought to them from the higher realms, meaning that beings of higher vibration in the spiritual realm actively seek the shaman out because they're a conduit. So, yes, I was harassed by evil entities when I was a child, but I've got a great team, a powerful team of protectors that have pulled my ass out of the sling more times than I can count, because I've made a lot of foolish decisions in my life, and they knew I was going to do that. So they made sure that I had a pretty elite team of ass protectors following me around since I was a child, which has kept me safe from negative spiritual influence. And after a certain age, I was no longer even susceptible to it. But further proof that I'm not a shaman. Shamans, as a channel conduit, go into they invite the entity to inhabit their body, and then the entity speaks directly through them. Alchemists don't do that. Instead of the spirit realm reaching down to me, I reach up to the spirit realm and access what many like to refer to as the Akashic, the Akashic Record, which is just the depository of all universal knowledge. And it takes a lot of conditioning to be able to get yourself to a point where that becomes available to you. And then even once it becomes available, it won't be consistent, and it won't be as useful as it possibly can be until you realize, like I did last night. I was sitting with myself, getting bitten by fleas, feeling horrible, just hot. But, it's, there we go. Every time I'm in a place of distress and despair, that's where my biggest breakthroughs happen. And I didn't realize that throughout most of my life, all the self-sabotage that I've done has been an unconscious conditioning of myself to gain higher insights through pain and suffering, which creates a contrast that you can measure against, which is definitely an alchemy. I mean, measuring, contrasting, transmuting. I don't know why I didn't see it before, but I see it now, and that's good. And it feels great. It feels great not wondering, because I respect a shamanic tradition. It's got a lot of power, but it's just not my expression this time. I believe it was at one point, another life. But, and that knowledge is useful at times, but it's not very useful for me to rely upon, because my strengths lie in the alchemy. I just keep laughing because my whole life I've been doing the alchemy. I even read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, some of the translations. I felt very connected to them and the Hermetic principles. I've also been drawn to the Stoic mindset, and Stoicism is very useful, very useful. But if I pause, it's because people are walking by. Yeah, feels good. But you know what? I believe my time here in Abilene is done. I came here. It was the final crucible in which all the ingredients that I am were brought together and refined to make the finished product. Also, a lot of synchronicity has happened here, and whereas I would imagine that spirit walking is more of a shamanic tradition, it's not limited to shamanism. It's simply a tool of elevated consciousness that is accessible to everyone, which is why I really, really strongly recommend that people try it. Watch my previous videos. I give very good instructions, precise instructions on how to do your spirit walks. But you have to have come to a certain place before you can do it. You can't just pop out of the office one day in 3D existence and go on a spirit walk and expect, something will happen. But it won't be to the degree or magnitude that I'm talking about. Like, we're talking miracle level, which I have to consider. My RV was kind of a, boy, that was a something but nothing. That was an alchemy. I went from sleeping in a park to having an RV I never thought I'd be able to have. So that worked out. And Abilene is a very strange city. It's a mixed bag, melting pot. You got narrow perspectives, and then you have very spiritual people that seem to have a good concept of unconditional love, but still through a very narrow focus. Ultimately, what saved me from the darkness of myself was Jesus Christ, which is actually, see, I've got a problem with the Catholic faith because they took a beautiful Bible, cherry picked what they wanted, and added other things that had nothing to do with it. They misnamed Jesus, whose real name is Yeshua HaMashiach. And I take that very personally because I was saved in the church. I'm a baptized Christian, and there's nothing against that for when it comes to alchemy. You can be both. But an alchemist refuses to be deluded by the ideas that don't belong and aren't original to Scripture. So, if you give me a Bible, the original version in Hebrew or Greek, I can be a lot more inclined to just read it verbatim and take that for what it is, but we don't get that anymore. Not even the King James Bible is an accurate reflection of the actual text. So, take that for what it is. Jesus is still my Savior and friend. What he did for humanity can't ever be understated. But he did come to teach an example to live by. He didn't come to allow the few that profess to believe in him to be saved while the rest of the world dies in ignorance. No, he came to teach. So, because organized religion has taken that and used it as a tool for power and money, that's not the fault of Jesus, and it certainly wasn't God's intent. So, you have to have the integrity of spirit to know that, hey, I'm not going to be told by someone who doesn't even have knowledge of the full unedited truth that I'm going to hell because ancient wisdom comes naturally to me. And that's just not the way it's going to be. Alchemists by our nature, we want the truth and all of the truth. We want it to be as pure as possible, refined, no impurities. And that takes a lot of personal work. It's a lot of hard work. And if you're really damaged and traumatized, you gotta transmute all that before you get to your place of aha, which is it's the solution to all the stress and despair. So alchemy is a beautiful thing, and not just alchemists do it. It's such an important function that many other spiritual manifestations use it, and it's just a very integral part. I'm just a specialist in it, and that's how I function. I always have. It's funny how I had to get all annoyed and go dark last night, and well, I think it was the last time. It was the last breakthrough, and I was, just trying to get out of that bad state of mind. I went seeking for knowledge, and by this point in my journey, when I go looking for something on the internet, I find it, or it finds me, really quick. It doesn't hurt that I've been into IT and hacking and all that techie stuff for over a decade. So all of that combines to make me the I am that I am. And all the chakra work and all the guru stuff, the enlightened master teachings I learned, all that integrates perfectly. It's all it's swell. It goes right on in and just adds fire to the work, Fuel to the fire. Give it fuel, give it fire, give me that which I desire. But, you can tell I feel great. And I was even starting to have self-doubt again yesterday. But now, I don't think there's any room for it. I don't think there's any room for it because it's being replaced by action. I don't feel like I can just sit still, bury my head in the sand and watch stuff that isn't pertinent to my work. And you'll notice I don't say mission anymore because I believe I've accomplished what I need to do here in Abilene. I know it is a fascinating city. It was a much greater at one point. Can you see me? I don't know if the sun is being too bright. So yeah, I mean, I'm sort of spirit walking right now, but not really. Not intentionally, not with any intention in mind. I already had things that I had to do. So I'm just going about the stuff that I know is going to fix my life. The only spirit walk aspect of it is my intention setting for getting employed. Because I think I already know where I'm going after this. I'm pretty sure of it, actually. I met a gentleman the day that I left Tacoma, Washington, and it was the day I was going to get on the bus to get him here to Texas. And he's a fixture around the place where I used to live, Tacoma, well known. But I could tell right off the bat that he was a very enlightened type person with an innate sense of love and friendliness that really caught my attention. And I knew I'd see him again someday. But I've been following him on Facebook, and we've been friends through Facebook. And just really inspired by the good work he's doing, man. He's on the path. He's on the path, and he's filled with joy. And it's very inspiring. And he's in Arizona, which isn't too far from here. It's a short jump. So I won't be experiencing much in the way of temperature difference going to Arizona, but it will be a bit more arid, which I haven't been enjoying the humidity here the last few days. I mean, it looks bright and sunny right now. It's still quite humid. I don't enjoy humidity. I just don't, unless it's colder. But yeah, in Virginia, that was a perfect example of what sucks to me temperature-wise. Wet, hot, every crack in your body feels like it. Never mind. Never mind, let's not go down that route. Yeah, let's just say it's kind of an unpleasant feeling. So, while, I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, this is a beautiful town. You look around, see all the trees. It is very well planned out. It's not over large. It's not a metropolitan, but it's not a little podunk shithole either. It's got everything your average large city has as far as it's actually got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to resources. It's just kind of flowing over. Like I said, it's probably the easiest place you can imagine being homeless in your life, simply because of all the church services that are available. You got more than a page full. Most cities only have like 2 or 3 services, not pages. So, yeah, we're good, man. We're good. I got what I need from here. I don't feel drawn to stay anymore. I feel like last night was the last little piece of the puzzle clicking into place. I'm no longer confused about my expression, and I can only grow in power now. And I don't say that with pride. I say that with joy and relief, because it was something I was striving for, and I don't think something in me told me I shouldn't have to try that hard. So, yes, it's good. It's good. All right. I'm gonna tell you guys to like, subscribe, and share, because it doesn't hurt to grow this channel, does it? But I'm gonna go ahead and do something I don't normally do, which a lot of my other friends and spiritual people like to do. And I do this in private, but it hadn't been my focus on any of my other previous videos besides the one where I gave an example of meditation, which meditation I did the night before where I fixed my back. so much more masterful than that one I had. So that video, it was a good example of how to ohm, but ohming is just one thing. And what I did the other night was a bit more complicated, and it was kind of like in a 3-part format. And I believe I already explained that in my last video. But what I was getting to, and I got sidetracked, was let's take some deep breaths, because it's just that time. Right up into that heart, right where it tickles. It's the same feeling that when I've had dreams of flying, that's what I would have to do right before I lift off. I'd be like, and when you feel that, boom, and you shoot off. Of course, you have to keep doing that while flying, otherwise you'll fall. You have to keep the vibration high, and I think it's probably something you want to practice. I mean, I don't think the world has vibrated high enough for people to start flying yet, but I know it will. I know it will. I've already dreamed it. I have flown, and I will fly. We just have to wait for that. Wait a little bit longer, because divine timing is still bringing it all into focus. But I'm doing my part to anchor love into the world and to bring the frequency up. So let's breathe again. Bright lights. Look at those colors. Yeah, that's an instant high. You can bring yourself up so quick with practice. It's not even a chore. I do it all day long. I know I don't do it on my videos all that often, but I'm going to from now on. Shout out Infinite Abundance. I know you're enjoying this. Yeah. So, have I said everything I needed to? I believe so. So now you know, from in the future, if I channel, it's because I'm going up. Nothing's coming to me. And the knowledge I'm bringing is still me, but it's the higher expression that I have to become when I go there. So it's you know, some people like to call it the oversoul. Some people like to call it the higher self. You know, any of those explanations are fine, because alchemists realize it, and we appreciate that labels have a purpose, but we also realize that they can get in the way of true understanding if one relies too heavily upon them. So you take what's good and you shit out what's bad. You know, that's what alchemy is all about, because existence is given us in a raw form, distortions included. And if you don't want to become a victim of those distortions and start acting in patterns that don't serve you, you got to know how to cherry pick the good from the bad, and that's alchemy. So, love to all of you. Try and find your expression. Find out who you are. It won't happen in a day, but it'll never happen if you don't start looking. And if you want to, if you like the way the world is now, don't go looking at all. Just put your nose to the grindstone. Forget anything I've ever said about ascension and 5D reality and all that stuff, and you know, bon appetit. But if that's not good enough for you, then why are you wasting time? Why are you wasting time? Because time is really short. It's time to go. God has decided it is time to go. So, with no shame, for those whose path is lower vibrational this time, maybe they're just going to have to come back. We all do. But I've decided that I don't want to come back. Not this time. I think I got what I need now. So I will be staying high in the upper realms when I leave this earth. I will not be coming back. That's how that's what I am to it. I think I'm done. This is my last rodeo here. And I couldn't be happier about that. Believe me, my soul is very weary. And I say that in joy, but I don't want to do this again. I don't really want to do this again. I want to go and grin and play like a child for the rest of eternity with the other children. So, love to all of you. And eyes up. Find out who you are and know thyself. Later.